8 African kingdoms that disappeared and why they fell. They say one kingdom vanished in a single night, and if you listen closely to the desert wind, you might still hear its walls collapsing. Welcome to Edu History TV, where we bring back the true stories of Africa, not just through books, but through the voices of our ancestors, the land, and memory. 1. Wagadu, the kingdom that sacrificed daughters, until one said no. Long ago, before the Mali Empire or Sundiata, there was Wagadu, a city so rich that even its sand glittered with gold. Her people were proud, her walls wide, and her wealth seemed endless. But the gold came at a price. Each year, the priest would select a noble daughter and offer her to Bida, the serpent god. She would be dressed in gold, bathed in perfume, and sent into the dark. No one was allowed to listen to her screams, because when Bida was fed, the gold flowed. But one year, a warrior named Mamadi Sefe de Kote refused to accept it. He followed the girl into the cave, sword in hand. When the serpent appeared, fiery and without eyes, Mamadi struck and killed it. That was the end. The rain stopped, the wells dried up, traders vanished, gold lost its shine, and so the kingdom crumbled. One city was swallowed by sand, another disappeared with the wind. Wagadu, once queen of the Sahel, was buried in silence. Some believe Bida still lives, and every few decades, another daughter vanishes. 2. Kingdom of Kongo, the kingdom that begged not to be sold. Before the slave ships came, Kongo was already a strong kingdom, ruled by faith, order, and pride. Its capital, Mbanza, Kongo, was filled with palaces and sacred grounds. When the Portuguese arrived, King Nzinga Nku welcomed them and became Christian. But it was his son, Alfonso I, who trusted too much. Alfonso built churches, learned Portuguese, and wrote letters to Portugal's king. One letter said, "My people are being stolen, my nobles sold. Please return them," he begged, again and again. But the slave ships kept coming. The kingdom weakened, rebellions rose. Then, King Antonio I, Alfonso's grandson, went to war. He was captured, his head displayed like a trophy. The bleeding didn't stop. The priest had warned Alfonso, "The cross you carry was once a sword, and it still cuts." 3. Luba Empire, where history was kept in beads. In Congo's forests, the Luba people remembered their past, not with books, but with sacred boards called lukasa. Each board was covered in beads, symbols only trained eyes could read. Some held stories from 50 generations ago. Messengers would sit barefoot by the royal fire, reciting long bloodlines by heart. But in the late 1700s, a fight over who would be king broke the kingdom's balance. The Swahili Arab slave traders noticed. They brought rifles and widened the cracks. Villages turned against each other. Brothers fought brothers. The sacred lukasa boards were lost. Some burned, some buried. There is a line the elders still sing. "They didn't kill our kings. They killed those who remembered them." And that's how you erase a kingdom without swinging a single sword. 4. Great Zimbabwe, the city they refused to believe Africans built. In southern Africa, stone walls 3 stories high still stand, built without cement, perfectly balanced. This was Great Zimbabwe. But when outsiders found her ruins, they said, Africans couldn't have built this. They searched for signs of Romans or Crusaders. They were wrong. Zimbabwe was real. Her kings wore cheetah skins. Her wealth came from cattle, gold, and wisdom. Then, one day, everyone left. No war, no fire, no graves. Why? A drought? A sign from the ancestors? A calling? Only the soapstone birds of Zimbabwe stayed behind, staring toward the horizon, not the past. Some say the ancestors called the people away, before something worse arrived. 5th Zagwe dynasty, the rulers who carved churches from rock, high in Ethiopia, where the clouds hug the mountains. The Zagwe dynasty ruled, not with armies, but with holy stone. Their king, Lalibela, had a dream of Jerusalem falling. So, he carved a new one, not with bricks, but with mountain rock. He built 11 churches, each one dug from a single block, all connected by tunnels beneath the earth. Some say angels helped him, but a new royal family claimed to be descendants of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. A prophecy said they must rule, and so the Zagwe stepped down. No war, no blood, just a respectful goodbye. The Solomonids took the throne. The Zagwe faded into the mist, but the churches remain. Stone does not speak, but it never forgets. 6. Mapungubwe, the royal hill that disappeared quietly. Before Zimbabwe, before maps were drawn, there was Mapungubwe. It stood where the Limpopo River bends, ruled by nobles who lived on a hill above the people. They were buried sitting, facing the rising sun, with rings of gold, ivory bangles, and one special item, a tiny golden rhinoceros. Around 1300, the kingdom disappeared. No battle, no fire, no reason left behind. Did they overfarm the land? Did trade routes shift? Or did the ancestors send a warning? Some say the king was told, "Leave everything, walk away." So he did. Now we're left with a few bones and a golden rhino shining in the sun. 7. Takrur, the empire that broke under its own religion. In the Senegal River Valley, before Mali rose, there was Takrur, one of the first West African kingdoms to convert to Islam as early as the 1000s. King Wajabi banned idol worship. Shrines were destroyed, priests exiled. As Takrur rose, Ghana fell. But soon, Takrur began to fight itself. New religious sects argued. Faith became a weapon, not a bond. In time, Takrur was swallowed by new empires and forgotten beliefs. Now, near the river, old fishermen still whisper to both gods, the one in the sky and the one in the water. 8. Oyo Empire, the crown that cracked from inside. Yoruba land once echoed with war drums and cavalry hooves, and Oyo was the center of that power. The Alafin ruled from a palace where drums spoke before words. Oyo grew big, forcing Dahomey to pay tribute, controlling trade routes, and negotiating with Europeans. But then came pride, and pride brought cracks. The Are Ona Kakanfo, commander of the army, challenged the king. Civil war broke out, slave raids and northern attacks followed. By 1835, the great city of Oyo was silent. But if you've ever heard Yoruba drums in Brazil or seen Orisha altars in Cuba, then you've heard Oyo's spirit. She may be gone, but her rhythm lives forever. So now I ask you, would you offer your daughter to save your gold, or your gold to save your soul? Does faith build a kingdom, or bury it in silence? What if these empires didn't fall? What if they chose to disappear? What if they became the dust? And when you see dust spinning in the wind at sunset, some elders say, that is not the wind, that is the drums. The drums calling home a kingdom whose name you've just remembered. If you've ever heard a story like this from your grandparents or elders, tell us in the comments. You may be holding the final line of a forgotten book. This is Edu History TV, bringing you the true stories of Africa. Don't forget to like, share, and follow, so these stories will never be forgotten again.